Okay, and I am back for day 2 of the braided cable beanie. It is the next morning. Kids are at school, so if you heard background noise yesterday, then hopefully you won't hear anything today, unless it's from my dog. But we are ready for row 5. So if you look at the pattern, row 5, let's get that pulled up. Row 5 here is the last row of the before the repeat. So this is where we are just doing those stitches across. We're not doing any crisscrosses to get that braid. So chain 2, which again does not count as a stitch. Front post around 2 stitches. Back post around 3. And then you're going to front post around those 12, but see how they cross, you have to make sure you get them in order. So this is very important. So front post around that first one, and then the next one is right here. So sometimes it helps if you just look at those top loops to see which one is next. That one. So it's super important to not skip over any. Make sure you get all 12. Pause right here and move my desk out. So again, it's behind there, so that third one is tucked behind there, so you have to really like spread these apart while you're doing it. Then you have these last 3. So it's just those ones that are behind that are really hard to see and hard to get to. So just take extra caution when you're doing those. So there's the run of 12. We're finished. So let's do 3 back post. To front post. Okay, now we're ready to repeat. So 3 back post. And you can see I'm really using my fingers to fill these stitches. Okay. So again, stretch it all out, get it flat. That is probably the trickiest part when you're working cables, is because you're crisscrossing stitches. They can really get tucked away, and you just really have to make sure you're hitting every stitch in order. Continue on. So see those 2, they're tucked in there, so you gotta stretch it all out. got that run of 12 done. Oh, bump the camera. Got that run of 12 done, so now we're going to move on to these 3 back posts. Two front posts. Then 3 back post again. And then your run of 12. So there we have those crosses, so you gotta straighten out those stitches. Alright, then 3 back post. And then after this last stitch, we are ready for our last repeat. And then we're back up to the top of the row. Okay, so 2 front posts. Sorry if my thumb is getting in the way. I use that to fill those stitches and hold on to it so much. So again, I'm just going around the post and not the top of those loops. So it does make it like where these front post stitches, can you see that? So these front post stitches kind of stick out, and then these back posts are a little sunken in, so it really gives it nice definition between the braid in the center and then these post stitches on each side. Going to continue these front post stitches. Again, I'm stretching it out, making sure I get every single stitch in order. Oops, I almost got around. There we go. So like I said earlier, oh, the focus is going in and out. So like I said earlier, if you're having a hard time making sure these are in order, you can look at these top loops. You could see the top loops will show you which stitch is next. So when you kind of give it a good stretch, you can really see those too. So just make sure you're going in order. So 1. These 2 are the ones that are always tucked behind after that first one. 2. The first time I worked this beanie, let me show you something. First time I worked this beanie, I noticed there's like a gap right there. Do you see that? It's not, you can't really see it anywhere else, but on this row right here where those X's are, it makes this gap. And it might look like a big deal now, but once you get the hat worked up, like you really can't tell. I mean, that's where this gap would be, is right there. So it's on those stitches where the X's are, but I promise once you're wearing the hat and you have it all worked up, it won't be noticeable that there's a hole there. So if that bothers you and you feel like it is noticeable, you could always take some yarn at the end and like sew that together or something. But I don't think you can tell, like even on a different spot, like that's where the gap is right there. So totally your preference though. Okay, moving on. So you might just notice in the video that I'm making it looks like it's a huge hole, but I swear it'll straighten out. So then 3 back post. All right, and then we're going to join to the top of that first double crochet, skipping over the chain. Pull that stitch tight. And we have finished round 5. So that means, it says rounds 6 through 13. We repeat rows 2 through 5 2 more times. So you can either stop the video there if you feel like you have a good understanding, or I will just continue working it on video, hoping that you can follow along. So we'll continue to row 6. Okay, so moving on to row 6, we're going to repeat row 2. Or I guess these are considered rounds, not rows, but you get it. So round 2, chain 2, front post, around these 2. So there's always going to be these post stitches here that are front posts and these back posts. So that's the kind of good thing about the pattern, is that you're really just changing up that braided sequence. So back post here. So again, this is where we're going to make the X in the center. So front post around 3, 1, 2, 3. We're going to skip 3 stitches, front post triple. So we're using triple on these because they're longer. So to get that X across. Okay. Now it says working backwards, front post triple in the 3 post skipped, working right to left. So we're going to go behind. So go behind. So fold those down. See those 3 in there? 1, 2, 3. We're going to work on that first one. And then the next one. So these are very hidden back there, so you really have to use your fingers. Get those stitches to come forward. Okay, so see what that looks like. You've got this little X in the center. So it's making these braids weave in and out. And then front post, double crochet around these last 3. Then back post around 3. Front post around 2. Back post around 3. And then we're going to do the same sequence. So we're at that 12 stitch braid. So front post 3, 1, 2, 3, skip 3 stitches, skip those 3, front post triple around 3, and go back and front post triple around these 3 that are skipped. So you're going behind it. And there's the next one. So we got the X, and then front post DC around 3. Okay, back post around 3. Front post around those 2, back post around 3, and we're back up to that 12 sequence for the braid. 3 there. And then skip 3, front post triple around 3. And go back behind. Front post triple around those 3 that were skipped. You can see them hidden right there. 1, 2, 3. So I would definitely call this pattern, maybe I should say this in the beginning, an intermediate to advanced. And really some experience with cables help, but if you want to just slow down and really practice, you know, more of a beginner crocheter could get this if they have knowledge of the stitches that are used and holding tension and counting stitches. Back post in 3. Front post around 2. Back post around 3. Okay, last run of 12, so 1, 2, the 3 front post, skip 3 stitches, front post triple and 3. This I just realized I call it a triple crochet, and I think that's what my grandma always called it, but I guess some call it a treble crochet. So if you are confused by what I am talking about, they're the same thing. From my understanding, you just, hang on, I'll show you. So you wrap the yarn around twice, insert into the stitch, and then yarn over, pull off 2, yarn over, pull off 2, 3 times. So I always call it a triple crochet, but I think the actual terminology is a treble crochet. So I apologize if I'm talking in this video and you have no idea what I'm talking about. So double crochet. And then we are at the end of this row, so we're going to back post in 3. 1, 2, 3, and I always go around the chain, slip stitch into the top of the first double crochet, skipping over the chain. So see what I mean where I go around that chain? You really can't tell. So here's the first stitch of the row. There's the double crochet with the chain where I slip stitch to it. Or not slip stitch to it. Where I double crochet around it, the chain and the double crochet. Make that back post stitch, and you really can't tell. So there's the seam of the hat. You could tell this right here where I joined it together, but that's it. Okay, so now we are ready for round 7, which is where we're repeating the pattern, and that is round 3. So, okay. So continue on, chain 2. Double crochet front post in these 2 stitches, back post in 3 stitches. And then here we just front post double crochet around the 12. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So there I had to kind of straighten it out because those are the ones that are tucked back. And then the last 3 here. Okay, so let's see what that looks like. It's turned out very nicely. Alright, so back post double crochet around these 3. Front post around 2. Back post around 3. And then front post around all 12 of the braid. And I'm sorry that you guys have to stare at my unmanicured fingernails. If we were waiting for me to get a manicure to have a video, it probably would never happen. So I guess just take what we can get. Okay, so last 3. So there's where it straightens everything out. Alright, so back post around 3. Back post around 3. Then we're back to that 12 run for the braid and just front post across each stitch. And then these are tucked behind, so you just kind of have to pull them out. post double crochet 3. Back post 3. We'll back up to that 12 across for the braid. There is a cat here in that. My cat, I'm sure those of you that have furry friends, my cat, since I moved this desk from my daughter's room into my room to take a video in front of this window. So like I said, my craft room is in the basement that has no windows, so videos and photos really need to be done in natural light. So since I moved the desk in here, she decided that she wanted to check it out, and so she was on top of my desk, which left cat hair. So she always has to be nosing around anything that's new. So you might see little strands of cat hair as we're making this video, which is great. Alright, so we're back to the join. So I double crocheted around that chain and the DC, and then we're going to slip stitch to that first stitch. So we are on round 8, I believe. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yep, 8. So, which means since we're repeating row 4. So row 4 is where there's 2 X's on each side. So these are going to cross and these are going to cross. So you see where it's important for it to be done a certain way to get the weave in and out correct. Alright, so chain 2, double crochet around the front post, 3 back post, so then we front post triple, we skip 3 stitches, so skip those 3 there, front post triple around the next 3. Front post triple around the 3 that are skipped. This time you can go in front. So when we do the X in the center, we go behind. When we do the X on each side, we go in front. So we've got the 3, and then we skip 3. So here's the 3 that we skip. 1, 2, 3, and then we go back. So there's those 3 that are skipped, kind of hidden in there with all these post stitches and crossing. So you might just have to like use your fingers and feel for those stitches. So here's the last one. Back post around 3. So see how that looks? and the 2 X's on each side. Front post around 2, back post around 3, skip 3 stitches, front post around 3, see, that makes it cross, skip 3, so 1, 2, 3, front post triple around the next 3, and we're going back and front post triple around the 3 that are skipped. So there's that first one. You can see the other 2. There's that last one. Okay, and then back post around 3. Front post around 2. Back post around 3. Alright, and then skip 3 stitches, front post triple around the next 3. Front post triple around those 3 that were skipped. So there's 1, 2, 3, and skip 3, so you're skipping those 3, go front post triple in the next 3, then we're going into those skip stitches. We're on our last repeat right here. Back post triple, or not back post triple, back post double and 3. Skip 3, front post triple and 3. go back and front post triple. I just messed something up. Oh, I didn't. No, I don't know what I did. Let me go back and do that over. I didn't finish that stitch off, and then I tried to move on to the next stitch. Okay, now we're ready. Front post triple around these 3 skipped stitches. Okay, now skip 3 stitches. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Front post triple around the next 3. Okay. Front post triple around those last, for those 3 that were skipped. Oh, hold on, I almost skipped that first stitch. Back post triple, or back post double around 3. And we're back up to the top. So slip stitch to the top of that first double crochet. Alright, do you see how nice it's turning out? So we are ready to repeat round 5. I think we're on round 9. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yep, so we're on round 9, which is repeating round 5. So chain 2, double, and the 2, back post double, and 3. And then this is where you just do a run of 12 front post double crochets across. So making sure you're going in order. So in the pattern it says making sure to not mix up stitches. So that's what I mean by making sure you're going in order. So don't mix up stitches or else it'll look funky. Or you'll realize on the next round that you don't have enough stitches and you'll have to take some out. Take a row out. So see, you kind of have to like pull it apart. So back post, double, around 3, 1, 2, 3, front post double, around 2, this is where we're front post double crocheting around those 12 cut off, so making sure you're going in order. that run of 12, see that's where it kind of leaves that gap, but see that first gap that you saw, it really, I mean, it closes it up as you continue working. So back post, double around 3, front post double around the 2, back post double around 3, your run of 12, so front post double around each stitch for 12, making sure to go in order. See how I'm doing some stretching of the stitches, making sure I get every single one. Getting close to the end of this row, so back post around 3, front post, oh, well, hang on, getting ahead of myself, front post around 2, back post around 3, then you've got your run of 12 to front post around for the braid. Stretch out those stitches. 1, 2, I always count. I mean, when I'm crocheting, I have to count all the time. In my head, I'm constantly counting, just to make sure you don't skip stitches. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, back post around 3, 1, 2, 3, going around the double crochet and the chain, join to the top of the double crochet, skipping over the chain from this round. Okay, so we have one more repeat of rows 2 through 5. So the next row is going to be the X in the center, and then you have a row of double crochet across, and you have a row of the X's on each side, and then a row of double crochet across. So I'm going to stop the camera, and I am going to work the next 4 rows, and if you want to go back and watch it, I can put a little timestamp on there to let you know what to rewind to, because we repeated those rows 2 through 4 starting down in here somewhere. So I will just rewind back, or not rewind back, but I will put a marker, a timestamp on there to let you know what you can rewind back to. That way you can rewatch it and then meet me for row 14. So go ahead and repeat rows 2 through 5 right now to continue working up to row 14. So I will stop the clock right here. Okay, I am finished with rows all the way up until 13. So we are ready for row 14, which starts to decrease. So this gets a little bit, we're still following the sequence where we have the post stitches here, the back post stitches here, and then we have this run of the braided in the center. So we're still following that sequence, we just start to decrease to narrow it down for the top of the hat. So as you can see, what it's looking like, has nice, beautiful texture, looks very almost knit-like. So let's go ahead and start. So row 14 says to chain 2, front post DC in 2 stitches. Now this is where we get tricky because we start to decrease. So back post, decrease, DC around next 2 post. So repeat that, back post, decrease, double crochet. So we're going to go around 1, pull through 2 loops. Instead of finishing that off, we're going to decrease. So yarn over, go around next stitch, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through all 3. So that is a decrease stitch. So it took the 2 stitches and created it into 1. And then it says back post, decrease, and next, or back post, DC, and next. So it took those 3 down to 2. So now we're just going to continue this as we normally would. So it's a skein of 12 stitches, just like it was. So on this row, your decrease stitches are on these back post. The future rows does change, so let's focus on this. So it says, let's see, where am I at? Front post, DC around 3, so 1, 2, 3, skip 3, front post, triple around next 3, 1, 2, 3, go back, working behind, front post, triple around the skip stitches. So just like we normally would, this is not any different than what we've been doing the whole beanie. And front post DC around the next 3. And then it says back post double crochet. Do that as normal. And the next one is back post decrease. So again, we yarn over, go around that post, yarn over and pull up a loop. Yarn over and draw through 2 loops, yarn over, go through the next post, yarn over and pull up a loop, yarn over and go through 2 loops, yarn over, go through all 3. So that's a decrease, took it from 3 stitches to 2. Front post around the next 2. Now we're going to repeat. So back post decrease, so go through, yarn over, go around the next one, yarn over, go through that. So then back post over the next. And then just like we normally did, decrease in the 3, I'm getting my words mixed up. Front post in the 3. Oh goodness. Skip 3, front post triple around those 3. go back, going behind to the 3 that we skipped, front post triple. I know that is the super tricky part of this pattern, to go back and work behind, but super important. Whoa. I've had a couple people that's tagged me before and asked why theirs doesn't look like mine, and it's usually that one step where they don't go behind on that row 2. That's where the X is in the center. You have to go behind, so that's kind of confusing, but hopefully the video will help. Okay, and then again, just back post double crochet, and then back post decrease. So go around, go to the next one. Oh, I just did something wrong there. Try that again. So we got 3, yarn over. So front post and those 2, 1, 2. And we're doing the repeat again. So back post, decrease. So it's the same as a regular double crochet decrease, it's just using the post stitch instead of going on top of that normal loops. Front post in 3, 2, 3. Front post triple around, we'll skip 3 and then front post triple around those 3. 1, 2, 3. Go back behind. And we're going to front post in those last 3. And then again, we're going to back post double crochet, back post decrease, double crochet. That's where I'm creating the decrease. Front post, back post decrease, back post double crochet, and we're on the last of the 12 here, so front post around 3, skip 3, front post triple, and then skip 3, go back and work in those 3 that you skipped. The last one. Front post in those 3. Back post around 1, and back post decrease. Join to the top of the first double crochet. Okay, so it's going to slowly start to taper in. So we are on to round 15. So round 15 says chain 2, front post double crochet twice like usual, and then back post double crochet twice. So now here's this back post decrease. You're going to go around the entire stitch, the decrease, and back post double crochet on the next one. So we took it from 3 back post stitches to 2 using that decrease on the last round. So let's see, it says front post DC in first stitch, got that, front post decrease DC, so decrease in the next. So just same thing as the back post, just doing it in front post. See, we took that from 2 stitches to 1. Where am I at? Front post double crochet, front post decrease, front post double crochet, front post decrease. So we are taking this run of 12 down to a run of 8. So front post and then front post decrease. Alright, so that's what it looks like. So we've got 8 stitches instead of 12 because we're bringing this into the center. And then just like usual, back post decrease, back post, I can't talk, back post double crochet, don't decrease, goodness. Alright, and back post double crochet around that decrease stitch, and front post, front post. I'm working on the repeat now, so when I say the repeat, if you look at the pattern, it says, it told us what to do. Oh, goodness, I set the camera. Told us what to do from here to here, and then this is where you start to repeat. So each time you're repeating. So this pattern has 4 repeats. So you do this 1 time, and then you repeat it 3 more times. Make sure you knew what I was talking about there. So back post double crochet around that decrease, back post double crochet, front post double crochet. This is where we are decreasing again, front post decrease right here, taking this run of 12 down to a run of 8. We're eliminating 4 stitches by decreasing here. What I was doing. So that's a decrease. So front post, decrease. Front post, decrease. And then do your 2 back post stitches. And we're at the top of the repeat again, so front post double crochet, front post double crochet, back post double crochet, back post double crochet, front post double crochet, front post decrease double crochet, because we're on that run of 12 that we're taking down to 8, decrease here, so we're decreasing every other stitch on that run of 12, decrease, and decrease. Back post. Oh. Front post. Back post, round 2. Okay, and we're on that last run of 12 that we're decreasing to 8. Front post in the first one, front post, decrease, front post the next one, front post, decrease, front post on the next one, front post, decrease, front post, decrease. And then back post around the last 2 stitches, and we are finished with that round. Of course, I'm going to go over the whole thing, so that decrease stitch and the chain. Like I said, it makes it invisible, so your joins are not noticed when you, oh, it was off camera. Your joins are not noticed when you go around the chain and the double crochet. So you can see you can't tell where the row ends and stops at. Okay, so we are going to move on to row 16. We're almost done with this pattern. So row 16, front post, double crochet twice, back post, decrease, so decrease there, and then let's see what it says, skip 2 post, which are these 2 here, so that becomes 1 because it's a decrease, so 1, 2, front post triple around the next 2, so front post triple around that, front post triple around this whole double crochet decrease stitch, so that stitch becomes 1, and let's see, front post triple around the 2 that are skipped, and this is 1 stitch because it's a decrease, skip 2 stitches, front post triple around the next 2, front post triple here, front post triple around the 2 that were skipped, 1, front post triple here, so you got your 2 little X's. They have decreased to this decreased to 8 stitches, so it looks smaller than normal. All right, let's see, what does it say now? So back post decrease, so we're taking the 2 of the back post down to 1, and then double crochet here around the 2, back post decrease again, okay, skip 2 stitches, front post triple around 2, 2 stitches, front post triple around the next 2. Go back to the skip stitches and go around those. Back post, decrease. Front post, double crochet. Back post, decrease. We're on this run of 8 stitches now. So front post, triple, well, you skip 2 and then front post triple. Go back and front post triple around the 2 that were skipped. Skip 2 stitches, so skip those 2, front post triple around the next 2. Go back to the 2 that were skipped. Front post triple here. Back post, double crochet. Front post around these 2 stitches. Back post, decrease. I think on that last one I did not say decrease back post, but hopefully you caught that. So back post, decrease, 2 front post, back post, decrease. We're on our last run for this round. So skip 2, front post triple around 2. Go back to here. And then we're going to back post, decrease in that last stitch, go around the DC and the chain to make that join invisible. Whew, we finished that round. My wrist is killing me. Okay, so normally I break this hat up in a couple of sessions, not in like an hour. So, okay, moving on to round, let's see, we're on round 17. So chain 2, front post, double crochet twice, 1, 2, back post, double crochet around that whole thing where the decrease was, front post, decrease times 4, front post, decrease, double crochet times 4, so 1, 2, it was hard for me to get that stitch out, so decrease, decrease here, decrease, decrease, so we decreased times 4, okay, and it says to back post, double crochet, front post, double crochet times 2, back post, double crochet, front post, decrease times 4, so 1, 2, 3, 4, back post, double crochet, front post, double crochet times 2, back post, double crochet, front post, decrease, front post, decrease. This is times 4, so 1, 2, 3, last one. Back post, double crochet, front post, double crochet times 2, back post, double crochet, decrease, double crochet times 4, so 1, 2, 3, oh my goodness, I just went back on that one. Okay, I did a back post instead of front post. Whoops. Okay, and then back post, double crochet here around the whole chain and all. The whole chain and the stitch. And slip stitch and pull tight. So as you can see, it's starting to angle in. We are almost finished, so let's move on to row 18, which chain 2. Back post, decrease, double crochets, or front post, decrease, double crochet. Goodness. So we're decreasing here in these front posts, and then we are back post, double crochet 1, front post, decrease times 2, so decrease, lots of decreases going on, decrease, front post, decrease here, so let's bring it into this little narrow stitch, back post, double crochet, front post, decrease, back post, double crochet, front post, decrease, times 2, so 1. So we're on this big braid area. We're at the very top of it. It's narrowing it in. Front post, decrease here. Back post. Front post, decrease. Back post, front post, decrease, front post, decrease again, back post, double crochet, front post, decrease, back post, double crochet, front post, decrease here, front post, decrease, going around that whole decrease stitch from the previous round. So see that whole thing. Decrease there. Back post, double crochet in that last stitch around this double crochet and the chain. Slip stitch to the top of the first double crochet. Okay, so let's see. We are on round 19. So looks like round 18 ended with 20 stitches. Round 19 we're going to single crochet. So chain 1, single crochet together. So in order to do a single crochet together, which is a decrease single crochet, is insert into stitch. So we're doing the top of the stitch. We're not doing post stitches anymore. We're finished with that. We have the last 2 rounds of the pattern. So insert into top of the stitch, yarn over and pull up a loop, insert into next stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, and go through all 3 loops on hook. So we're going to do that around. So we're taking it from 20 stitches to 10. So there's 1, insert into next stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, insert to next stitch, and yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, and pull through all 3. Insert, yarn over, insert, yarn over, pull through all 3. Insert, yarn over, insert, lots of decreases going on. Last stitch it looks like. So that's it. So we're back up to the top. So insert into the top of that stitch. You see there's your chain 1, doesn't count as a stitch. There's your top of your first stitch. Insert there, join with a slip stitch, pull that slip stitch tight. There's where the top of the beanie's looking. So it looks like row 20 is chain 1, same thing. Single crochet together, decrease single crochet, whatever you want to call it, all the way around. So there should be 5 stitches left. So there's 2. 3. 4. And 5. And we're going to slip stitch to the top of the first stitch, right there. We have finished that completely. You're going to cut your strand, that did not cut very well, and we're going to use this long tail to close the loop. So basically here's how I do it, is we pull this all the way out. This is how I close almost every, if I'm joining in the round, I close it like this almost every time, where I join and I pull that tail all the way out, insert that there, and pull it there. This kind of creates this, like, I don't know, closed join. So let me grab a tapestry needle real fast. Okay, attach a needle and then we'll close the top of that. This is not my preferred needle, so we'll just deal with what we got. So basically, you have a hole here. So see, it's not really even that big, but you just want to kind of close that off. So what I suggest to do is to just weave in and out of those 5 stitches. So you've got 5 stitches left. So there's the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So basically just take that and pull it tight. And then just go through the center a few times. So some hats have a bigger hole at the top that you really have to go through a couple of times to get it to close. So see how it's closing? You really can't see the center any longer. I'm just going to do that again. And then what I'll do is take it to the inside. So take this to the inside and then I'll knot it a couple of times. Here's the inside of the hat. So just wrap it around a couple times. And then I'm going to show you how to make a faux fur pom-pom as well. Might as well finish this hat completely. So there's my knot. Might just kind of weave it through the center. That way it doesn't come out. Oh my goodness. If I can get it through. There we go. And then go ahead and cut that. Now we have this little strand from the beginning that needs weaved in. So this tail did not get, I didn't crochet around it. Normally I would crochet around that tail, but for some reason I didn't. So basically I'm going to attach my needle and just weave this. I think I'm going to go this way though. So weave it through these stitches. Maybe kind of go down here. Go through these stitches. Whenever you are weaving in ends, actually I'm going to go this way too. When you're weaving in ends, you always want to go a couple of different ways. That way it doesn't come out. So I always suggest to just kind of go back and forth. So here we have it. You can most certainly, well, let me take the phone off the stand. You can most certainly leave the hat like it is. It is a nice finished hat. You can definitely leave it like this. It looks super cute. But if you like to attach a pom-pom like this, see this fur pom-pom? If you want to attach that, then I will show you how to do that now. So I'm going to stop the camera, get all my supplies ready, and then I will show you. Okay, so I've got all my supplies together. So this is a, it is a 1/4 yard of faux fur fabric. I bought this fur at Walmart like in the end of 2017. So here we are, February of 2019. So about a year and a couple months ago. And I have made so many pom-poms out of this, and it was not very expensive. So it's just 1/3 yard. You could see where I've used. And I decided, I bought this from Walmart, and then I bought the white from Walmart. So this is the white. So I decided on this pom-pom, the purple one we just made, I decided to go ahead and go with the brown. I thought it'd be pretty. So let's see, supplies that we need. You need, I guess I'm going to say that you need an Xacto knife, but I guess you really don't have to have one. You could get by with scissors, but I will show you where the Xacto knife comes in handy. So you need fur, Xacto knife. I bought some thread from Walmart. This thread is 100% nylon. Why nylon besides cotton? Cotton, when you're pulling it, it's going to rip. Nylon will not rip. So nylon is very heavy duty. So I'm just using this brown color here. I have some Poly-Fil, which is what I bought at Walmart. So you can use anything to stuff it with. And then you want some type of cup or something to measure it with. I use this yarn bowl that I have. Let's see how far across this is. I think it's 6 inches, but it is, yeah, about 6 inches across. So you can go, I would say for like a small child size, you can use 4 inches. If you want a big pom-pom, you can go up to 8. I would never go above 8, so that would be huge. But so this is about 6 inches that we're going to make here. So let's get started. Okay, so you can see where I've already cut out different areas of this. So what we're going to do is, with my daughter, we made this yarn bowl. My daughter wrote my name on it, and it says Jessica, and the J's backwards, and it's sweet. And then you could see where I have used a marker to trace on my fur. So I have a pen this time. Okay, so I know my camera's super close, but we're just going to do the best we can. Okay, so that way I don't have to hold it. So I'm going to see if this pen will work. I'm going to trace around the circle. Is that showing up? Of course it's not. Okay, let me, actually, I'm just going to use my Xacto knife and not even worry about it. So the Xacto knife is where it comes in handy here is if you use scissors on this, you're going to cut these little strands. You see how long these strands still are? And I use the Xacto knife to cut around. So the Xacto knife just cuts the backing of the fabric and doesn't actually cut the fur strands. So if you use scissors to cut the fur strands, you're going to have fur everywhere. So this is kind of a little bit of a cleaner option too. So basically, let me see if I can like get this adjusted where you can actually see me. Maybe not. Sorry, let's see here. Okay. So basically, you just take the Xacto knife, cut it around in a circle. So what I normally do is I usually trace it first and then do this. However, I didn't grab a marker and I don't feel like going to find one, so see where it's peeling away this backing but leaving the fur alone. Exactly what we want. I bought this Xacto knife at Walmart too, so there's a Walmart right by my house. The craft stores are, I would say, about 20 minutes away from me. Walmart's like 5, so therefore Walmart is the place to go sometimes. So all of this I got in my Walmart's craft section. I wouldn't say my Walmart has a huge craft section, but they do have some fabric. They've got some yarn, different things. So, and this blade needs to be probably changed out, but you can see where I'm just cutting, or maybe you can't see. I don't know, I can't even see the camera. So you can see where I'm just cutting it away. And does the circle have to be perfect? Absolutely not, because we are going to sew it together, so it doesn't have to be a perfect circle. I can definitely tell this blade is getting dull. I've used it a bunch. When I bought this Xacto knife, it came with an extra blade, so pretty nice. I think I can take that away now. Okay, so you can see where I've got the circle. I'm just going to finish separating it. Can you see that? and put the lid back on that. Okay. So, and here's what the Xacto knife looks like. Okay. So, I thought I had it all separated. Okay. So now I've got my circle, I'm done with the fabric, and look, there's really minimal mess. I mean, there's a few pieces that came out of it, but not a whole lot. Okay, so we're going to cut, you want a fairly long strip of thread because we're going to work all around that, and you want to be able to sew it to the hat. Okay, got my little needle here, so a sewing needle is needed as well. I don't think I told you that. Another good thing about the nylon thread is that it is easy to thread through the eye of the needle. It doesn't split as much as cotton does. Okay. Make sure I don't have any knots in my thread. I do. Okay, so I'll make sure there's no knots in it. That way it goes through nice. So I'm going to tie a knot in this. So see how I did a double knot. I might just do another one just to make sure it doesn't go through. So wrap that around your finger twice. Go through the center. I always use double knots like that when I finish off my work for a lot of different reasons. Okay, so now we are going to just weave in and out of these ends. Don't get too close to the end of it though, because it will come through, but just weave in and out. So we're just cinching this all together. When I bought this fabric from Walmart, it was a guy that cut it for me, and he just took scissors and cut it straight down the middle. And I will tell you, it maybe you can tell, oh, here on this end, it took and like cut all these pieces really short, so when you make a pom-pom that's close to those edge, those pieces just don't look as good. So I think next time I'm going to ask them if they'll like just cut the backing only, or if they can use some sort of Xacto knife or something to cut it, because I think one of these sections was the end. Maybe not. I don't know. The fur just isn't as long on those sides, so. But yeah, that was just 1/3 of a yard. So it's 1/3 of a yard wide, and I'm pretty sure I paid like $4 or $5 maybe, I think. It might not even been that much. It was cheap. And I've probably made already 15 pom-poms out of it, and it probably can make another 5, 6. So, pretty good deal. Okay, so just keep working this around, weaving in and out. I don't even know if I'm centered in the camera. Whoa, we got some fur in that. Didn't mean to do that. Trying to watch how I'm sewing so I don't stab my finger, and I'm not really keeping it centered in the camera, so I'm sorry. There we go. I just stabbed myself. It's bound to happen. Okay, so we're back to the front. Start, whatever you want to call it. And you want to just pull this a little bit tight so it kind of makes like a little cup. So you can see how it's starting to look. And then you want to stuff it with some Poly-Fil before you close it all the way. So if you don't stuff it, it'll be a flat pom-pom. So you want to make sure it's nice and round. So I might just close this up a little bit, see how it looks. I might stuff it with a little bit more. Yeah, I think I'm going to use a little bit more. And then one suggestion would be to close this and attach a button. And if I wouldn't have closed this hat all the way, I could have stuck the button through and then like sewed the inside of the button to the hat. But I didn't do that, so we're just going to do it, or we're going to sew it on. Okay. So let's kind of just take a look and see what it looks like before I close it all the way up. Nice and flat, so let's shake it out. Not too bad. It's kind of got some bedhead from laying flat, but yeah, looks pretty good. So what I do is, I think I'm going to stuff it just a little bit more. Trying to be careful not to stuff the fur in there because I don't want the fur to be in there. I want it to stick out. Okay. That should be good. So now what I usually do is just take and close the center like this. Oh, and rock the camera in the process. So see where cotton, if you're pulling this tight on cotton thread, it's going to rip and you're not going to get anywhere. So make sure you get nylon, or I think polyester might be that, or polyester mix or something like that. That way you want it to be sturdy. I'm going to go through the center a couple more times. I want to make sure it's nice and closed. Shooting it all the way across. If your pieces of fur get looped over, just kind of take your needle, fluff it back out like this. Alright, so now we're going to sew this onto the hat. So here we are, nice little pom-pom. Looks kind of crazy, but it'll look super cute on the hat. So we're going to sew it on the center of the hat. Okay. So what I usually do here is I just find the center, stick my needle through one of these stitches. And then I find it easiest to kind of just stick my hand in the middle, find somewhere near that, stitch in the middle somewhere. I am probably not the best example to show how to sew something on. I am not that great of a sewer. I can crochet all day, but sewing, not so much. So I usually just stick it through here. So kind of like going out a little bit, but making sure you're getting it through the fabric and not just through fur. No knots. So the further, let me explain something. So the further out you go, so this is a circle, the further out you go around the base of the fur is going to make it more secure. You really don't want a floppy pom-pom. You don't want to just sew it a couple times right through the middle, because it's going to flop around. You want it to be secure on there. You don't want it to move around a whole lot. So that's why I went a little bit further out from the center. So then I'm just going going to stick the needle through a stitch here. You can kind of see how they're looking. Just pull it tight though. And then go up on this side. So basically I'm sewing it all around the center. There's where, oh my gosh, there's where it's at now. I'm going to go to a stitch a little bit to the left of that. So right there will be good. Pull it tight. So here's the center of the hat. There's the center of that. I'm going to go out just a little bit. So usually once I go all the way around the base of the fur, I turn it inside out. So let me show you. So keep going. You see how it's pulling that down, so you don't want it, again, you don't want it just sewn in the center of it because it's going to be floppy. No floppy pom-poms. Sorry, I'm trying to look and not showing you guys, I guess. So again, through here. Now, if these start to get like curled up, just take your needle and fluff it out. Pull those fur pieces out. Okay, so I think I've gone all the way around, so it's pretty good and secure now, but I always like it extra secured. So I'm going to stick it through a stitch, and then what I like to do is turn it inside out. So here we are. This is the very center of the hat here. I don't have it turned all the way inside out, but I guess I could. Okay, so here's the very center of the hat right there at the top. I've got a hold of the pom-pom with my left hand. I'm right-handed, so I'm just kind of like just weave in and out a couple of times. So same thing we did when we were closing the top. Just weave in and out, making sure you're hitting through the pom-pom. You guys didn't just hear my belly grow. And then going through the center. I just do this a bunch, honestly. Like, I have that much thread left over. I just keep doing this because I figured the more secure it's on there, the better it is. But if you feel better using the button, by all means, you would just stick the button through that hole, and then you would go around the button a couple of times, and I usually would go around the outside of the pom-pom because you don't want it floppy. So I might turn this over, see how it's looking, make sure it's not going nowhere. You can see there's the very center of the hat. There's the pom-pom. Give it a good shake that we can see what it looks like. So it doesn't feel like it's floppy. It's got nice security. You could even go a little farther out if you want to. Looks crazy. It looks like it has really bad hair. So I think it definitely needs a little brush or fluff up. Anyways, okay. So let's tie a couple knots. So again, here's how I tie my knots. I go around the needle twice, and then I put my finger there and pull that knot tight. And I'll just kind of do that a couple more times. So wrap around the needle twice, pull through. Just gonna go all the way around the hat. Hope you guys can see. Wrap around twice. This will be the last knot I do. And then I'm going to just weave through that and cut it. It's not going to go anywhere. shake. All right, so what do you guys think? So we've got, take my thing off the stand. So here we are. We have got the braided cable beanie. Got it worked up. You've got a nice fur pom-pom. This is an adult size, but I think I told you that my girls are 7 and 9. They can both wear this. It does not look too big. They could wear it last year, so it will fit, I would say, all the way to like a 6-year-old. If you want smaller than that, go down in hook size or yarn weight. Here's the other one that I made. My daughter wore this to school, so it's already kind of been worn. I don't know, it looks a little funny too. I think it's the yarn that I used. So on this one, I used Red Heart Soft. On this, I used I Love This Yarn by Hobby Lobby. So there's both of them. Let me know what you think. Tag me on social media. Crochet It Creations at Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest, everywhere. CrochetItCreations.com is where you can find this pattern. All right, talk to you again soon.